Hello, hello.
Welcome
to Risk On, episode 33 with our boy AJC. I'm sorry. Risk On, Risk On is sponsored by FOMO, the best multi-chain trading experience in crypto. Join today using promo code RISKON for 50% off all of your trading fees. Join me, Swizzle. Stats isn't on there. AJC, should I call you AJC or what do you want me to call you?
You call me AJC, you call me Joe. I respect everything.
I like Joe. I like Joe. Joe, are you on FOMO yet?
I am on FOMO. I've been on FOMO for a couple months now, actually. Yeah, it's a great app. I love it.
It is. It's really popping off right now with the trenches coming back. This has been like the most fun 24, 48 hours I've had in crypto in months.
Mm-hmm.
How's your sleep schedule right now, Sats?
In the bin. In the bin is the only way to describe it. I went to bed at 7 last night and woke up at 12. Back to it. It's been a long time coming. It feels like I've had a long fucking holiday, which I didn't sign up for. But now, it's been crazy. It's been crazy good. Luckily, it's been going well. There will come a time where it's going to be going bad, and it's probably a time to sign off for a bit, but not yet. I would say we have another 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks left of whatever this meta is. Would you call it a meta right now? It just feels like Gas and Ralph ran really hard, and now we have just like this open source meta. It feels like with bags, but no, it's been interesting.
Swizzle, I see you own about 1% of the biggest token publicly on FOMO. How are you doing with that? And have you sold any?
I sold maybe like 100,000 tokens last night. Before I probably did another 2x, but I just wanted to buy one of these betas. Other than that, no, all of it that I hold is on FOMO. I'm not a side wallets guy. So that's what you see is what you get. Man, it's been pretty fun with FOMO. I've got just about based on last night's kind of run up, I now have like as many followers on FOMO as I do on X, just because there's so much traction on the app right now. And I don't know, it feels, I posted this last night, but it kind of I'm not really referring to myself. I think there's a bunch of other people who are really like kind of the main names that you're seeing pop up, but like it kind of feels like there's like a new iteration of what it means to be a KOL. That term that we've had for the past couple cycles, where it's just these people who are randomly, followed and well known on Twitter, crypto Twitter. But now it kind of seems like it's based on merit. It's like someone makes a good trade, it's public, you can see how they did it, and I like that. Like those are the people that are kind of getting some traction and some attention. So I don't know. I know we are a FOMO powered podcast here, but this is organic and authentic. I think it's actually a really good thing for just like the state of the trenches, and hopefully we see a real meta. I am not 100% positive what's going to happen from here, but especially if a couple of these like coins escape the quote unquote trenches and we see them go into like mid cap territory, then I'd be really excited that there's some real activity on chain pending BTC not fully rugging us here. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, BTC is kind of in the process of semi-rugging right now.
Yeah.
We're doing all right. Joe, have you been trading past few days and working simultaneously?
I have not been trading as much as the trenches as I would like to. I've just been like very tuned out of the market. Like obviously been paying attention. I threw in a couple longs for Met for this rather than like deep in the trenches.
That was kind of a good play. Shit, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
And that's what separates people like Joe from people like us.
Yeah.
Floater effects. Use that lane, and then we're like, oh shit, I'm going to buy the next derivative of the derivative and pray that like the AI clipping company CEO sees this and claims it. So
isn't Meteoro like big behind bags? Isn't that the thing?
Yeah. Like, so all the bags tokens are deployed on Meteoro.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I saw the Soju retweet my tweet and I was wondering why. There you go. Jesus.
Thrown in Satch's face. I didn't even know it.
Also, Joe, you say that you've not been active in the trenches. I think writing a 275-page thesis on the year could probably be a good justification for that. Sats sent it over to us, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'll read this before the episode tomorrow. And then I pulled it up, and I was like, I'm not going to read this.
Yeah, I didn't even pull it up. I just said, nah, I'm good.
That's par for the course for you, though, Whit.
No.
Yeah, so like November, December, literally was just up 12 hours minimum every day, weekends working on that. So like once I was finished, like I just needed to tune out for a bit. And I'm still kind of recovering from it, but yeah, we're getting back into the swing of things now.
Good. Well, I mean, one thing I did want to talk about, guys, regarding our FOMO wallet, our team wallet. We do have a public wallet for the podcast, and I have gambled it to near zero.
Wow, I didn't. Wow.
So the best thing that happened is that we were up. I think we were up like 2x on it, and in Wojak, and I sold all of our Wojak to start gambling on like bullshit like memes, like the Deer Coin and Ura. And I bought the tops of those, and then it just went to like we're down 70% on it. And then instead of like trading on that wallet for this bag's meta, I just traded on my personal wallet and forgot about that one. So
Wow.
it's like we've done
rugged us. You fucking rugged us.
So Wood is up, but Risk On is down.
It is up. Risk On is down. I am secretly in the top 15, I think, of the leaderboard of FOMO on an alt account right now. So
wow, there you go, doxed.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure I found Wood.
You definitely
Wood last night.
Oh really? Shit. SolSwizzle, aren't you top 3 right now on the FOMO leaderboard?
I haven't checked this morning because I was scrambling trying to get here to talk to you guys. But yeah, it was a good night last night. I think I was. That's why I'm saying that that FOMO top traders are the new KOLs. It's self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, I want to segue to a tweet you wrote yesterday, Stats, and you can argue that Stats brought the trenches back.
Incredible timing on that.
Yeah, that's incredible timing. Yeah,
Stats writes a long form tweet when Gas is at like 7 million, Ralph is at like 5 million, and then like 2 hours later, Ansem and Tolly are showing the whole thing. So, Stats, lay out your bags thesis for us here, and then I would like Joe to tell you why you're an idiot.
Yeah, so I saw the bags meta like sort of creeping up like with this whole claim thing, and it just felt like a really good opportunity for the like actual devs to get behind things. And yes, it was stupid, and yes, it's being gamed now, and it was always going to be gamed, but it just felt like something what everyone was overlooking from the start. And I was like, you know, where can I get the best exposure to this since bags don't have a token? And Gas was that to me. That was the best example of this actually working. And when he released that article, like delving in deep to, you know, why he was adopting and pushing the bags token, and he claimed, and I think he claimed like 100k. That was the Steve guy. And then yeah, I just thought bags had a tremendous opportunity, which they seem to be seizing, which is crazy because I did say in my tweet, like I was saying in group chats and on Twitter, I think if you go on my Twitter and type in Finn bags, I literally have a tweet saying let's leave Finn in 2025. Like this shit sucks. And then yeah, 3 weeks later, here I am writing fucking long form theses on Finn's stuff. But yeah, it did pay off. I did definitely get extremely lucky timing with the Soul Avengers literally picking it up. Fucking Tolly, Ansem, everyone started tweeting like 3 or 4 hours after my tweet. But yeah, I trimmed some when it went to, I think it went to what, 50, 60 mil. I trimmed some, been re-adding down here where we are. I still think it needs another leg, to sort of cement this, I guess, meta and like this vision of the trenches, what everyone has. Like if we don't get a next leg on Ralph and Gas and they sort of dwindle down, then it sort of just fades into whatever we've had in the past few months. Like, but no, I'm hopeful, but I am a bit worried because I see the route it's going down, as in we have so many coins now, and it's people sell gas, people sell all the good tokens to chase the shits, which happens quite commonly, but then it's like, can the main runners survive?
Now, I'm not a fan of like the, comparing specifically to a past meta, but I think it is relevant to talk about like the original AI season and not necessarily like specific narratives, specific tokens, but we did see very similar activity happen in terms of like there was a few select runners in that initial AI season. I can't remember, it was like Gina and a couple other things like that. And there was crazy dispersion because people got excited. And then if you guys remember, it died, like really died. I think most of those main runners had retraces, but even if they kept running, there was that dispersion, and then like a kind of like a sense of people saying, "Oh, this was like a week-long meta or whatever," before like the next wave of stuff happened. Do you guys feel like that's like an apt comparison right now, that, you know, we could see this being like a first, you know, let's say, assuming macro is good, assuming Bitcoin, you know, continues to make a little bit of a rally, do you guys see that as like this is the start of something potentially bigger? Whether that stays within your bags thesis sats, or if it expands beyond that, or, you know, are you guys still kind of tentative and thinking more along the lines of this being like a more isolated event than, you know, full blown on chain season?
I think this could stem into an on-chain season, but yeah, like I said, it needs another leg on the majors, or what the majors on what has come out of this meta so far. But I think it's a bit different to the AI season, because we've actually got, I hate to say real devs, but they are sort of real devs in this thing, like the gas guy, and that's sort of the way it's been going. But I do think it's got legs, and I think it's less of an AI meta and more of just like an open source code meta. But obviously that will develop as time goes on, and I don't think it will be limited just to bags in the end. Like I said in the end of my tweet, it's a matter of time before pump funds start with their own competitors, and we get vamped from bonks, we get vamps from fucking pump, and then it's like, can these runners survive that? It's like there's a lot of hurdles what need to be jumped before we can say this is like a real true meta, I think.
Joe, do you think this meta has any legs? And were you involved in AI Season 1.0 a lot?
Yeah, like I traded it. I think we need to kind of like learn the lessons from that here. I definitely think that this has potential. This can evolve into like a full-blown on-chain season. I would caution that I don't think the current iteration of it is going to be able to last very long. Like at the end of the day, these are essentially just like donation coins. Like the technical projects themselves, like Gastown, are not slop, but the tokens are still slop. Yeah. And I think like it's fine that they're slop for now, just to get people excited again. But like for this to actually like turn into something sustaining, you kind of need like these legitimate AI devs to like further embrace crypto, rather than just a tool for them to like, hey, I just got handed free 6 figures, like let's go party. So I think like we kind of need to see some further examples of just like devs being willing to like actually embrace like, oh, actually I'm now gonna raise for my project through crypto, rather than just like accept the free money.
Yeah. You know, Ansem, I don't know if you guys saw, Ansem posted something kind of along the lines of that, but he was kind of more providing like the reason for why these, what do you call it, like a mascot token, or like, you know, something that we're rallying around the idea of it that isn't really connected to the project. But he was saying basically like retail does not have access to like participate in a lot of these developments, and so crypto's like the great speculation vehicle that allows us to show like our buy-in to, or the market's buy-in to like certain concepts or ideas that they're bullish on. But it goes to your point, Joe, of like, you know, there's got to be some like step that this takes at some point if you really want sustainability, where it's like, okay, there's actually a connection to the token, to the project, because otherwise, you know, you're just gonna have a shelf life of like, you know, you can speculate on the idea of it. For example, Gastown's probably the best one, where it's like he's embracing it more than we've seen a lot of other people do, and so you're like, okay, well, maybe there's a next step that happens where he actually does something and incorporates and utilizes it. If you guys remember AVB, autonomous virtual beings, the first time around with Tim Cotton, like he really like made an attempt where he was like, I'm going to find a way, when I do, you know, finish this network up, I'm going to incorporate this token that was originally a community token. I think something like that has to happen, but in actuality. And I think it's easier said than done to figure out how to actually execute that. So totally agree with you, but I think at least there's the hope with speculation that we can kind of make that leap of faith that someone could come along and do it, you know? So.
Yeah, totally. Like this is exactly kind of what happened last time, right? Like you first had GOAT, and the GOAT itself was just like a meme coin, but like at least like it proved out the thesis that like, hey, there's capital willing to like allocate to these ideas, and like maybe it's actually worthwhile to like build your AI project on like crypto rails and whatnot. So I don't think it's like necessarily a bad thing that like people are speculating on like gas and like what's the other one, Ralph, like right now, because like it kind of has to, you have to first like prove out the idea that like, hey, you can make money building your you can make money building your AI project, launching a token. And I think for that next like leg to like get to like where AI season went last time, like you do need more than just these donation coins.
I think
It's not a bad.
I think you need the idea that there is more. Charles Shaw did this brilliantly last time. He created a narrative around what AI16Z, the token, and the project could be. Never fully realized it, but the excitement of what it could be for, creating the first L1 or L2 for agents on the Solana block, whatever it was, like solving AGI or whatever he said, which propelled it to 2.5 billion. I think there are narratives that are developing here that have the ability to grow. My favorite one is the tomato coin for that, personally, which is the most ridiculous thing I could possibly be saying right now, but that I think has the most like delusional chance of storytelling. It touches into human emotion and whatever, to kind of make that leap. But I completely agree with you guys. We need to kind of take this next step into it being more than just a donation coin with a bunch of like crypto bros saying, please, like endorse my coin, which has been really, really funny to see. There's been so many big accounts tweeting at these devs being like, hey man, like I know this, like you got to endorse it,
you got to claim.
Is there a reason you haven't acknowledged the coin? I imagine at this point you're at least aware of it. Like things like that over and over again. Just people who are a bunch of KOLs bundling 100K tokens, like tweeting at devs. It's kind of gotten to a low point. So we got to get past that. We got to get past all the rugs, and then maybe, just maybe, someone can spin up a narrative that takes us to the promised land of $1 billion coins. And that's how it starts. And I think the way to position right now, at least the way I'm positioning myself, is that the upside is tremendous here, and selling, I'm seeing people like saying, oh, I'm out of gas, I'm out of tomato, I'm out of Ralph here. And it's like, okay, great. But like, if this meta is here to stay, your upside is tremendous. And why in selling here is like, you're going to end up like fumbling and being the guy saying, oh, if only I held. So I think it's worth holding here, regardless if you think it's topped or whatever it is, because if this meta takes hold, you stand to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I think there's the game within the game. I think from a psychological standpoint, there's obviously the meta that exists, and you need that to be real. You need there to be like compelling narratives, the idea, the speculation that it could compound into something more, like Joe's saying. But I think the other side of this is like, and I wasn't on the podcast with you guys last week, but you were talking to Max about this, where I think now we're at this point where we've seen some volume come back. We've seen some tokens kind of starting to like break out of the trenches, and like you're seeing a chance at escape velocity. What I think now is really interesting is like, there are the people who have so conditioned themselves and been rewarded for it, not punished for it, from like really being disciplined, taking profit, getting out of a coin on the first run up every time, and then not re-entering. Now, all of a sudden, and especially with the FOMO fumble cards, it's interesting. But like, rather than seeing these big winning stories, I think you start to see oh my God, I fumbled this. And if you guys remember, like GOAT was like the absolute phenomenon with that Moodang, like this whole run in 2023 and 2024 of like, people saying, man, if I had just held, this would have happened. And all of a sudden, I think I've started to see that over the last 2 days of like, oh, I fumbled this. And it's like, well, yeah, you haven't held a single token past, 2 million market cap in 6 months. So why are you complaining that how much it would have been worth, if you'd held the 20 million? But the reality is now you start to see that happen. And I think there's a little bit of the same way there's wealth effects that trickle down when people make money, they put into more stuff. You also see like the trickle effects, the chain reaction of like FOMO and fumbling things, where it's like, oh man, like I don't want to do this again. And now does holders' psychology come back? Does belief come back little by little? And can that compound on itself? To me, that's what creates like a bubble of an on-chain season that really sees some huge, interesting like higher ceiling runners is like, does the psychology of I have to hold or I could be punished for selling too early come back? Because right now, for months, we've only seen holding get punished. We haven't seen selling early get punished.
I think the first coins we've sort of seen this with now is fucking gas and like white whale. Like that's the main cards I'm seeing, especially white whale. Like when Remus had his card, and then everyone started posting their fumbles, and everyone's fumbling fucking millions. And now we're seeing the same with gas, like people fumbling massive 6-figure positions. But yeah, I agree. That's where it starts. And that's what's making me hang on to the position. And like Wood said, like I think we're on the brink of either the narrative breaking out or it dying, and the downside or the upside is way more higher than the downside here. Like your upside is gas breaking out and finally like a coin breaking over 100 million organically, or as organic as it gets nowadays, I guess. But yeah.
And the last time we were in this scenario was the CCM meta. We were
Oh
on the
my god!
precipice, right? We were here.
Yeah.
This is where we
Yeah.
were. We were here. We had a bunch of $30 to $50 million coins, and we were like, I mean, it was so dumb, but you know, it was still kind of like, if this is gonna work, you should hold, and that's what I did, and I was punished.
Right, and that's and Wood, at some point, whether it's a week from now or 6 months from now, whatever, we'll probably look back and say, man, this was so dumb, right? But I do think right now, like I hold 1% of gas token. I would say, like, while this might sound crazy, like to me, the risk reward, like I would rather right now hold and round trip than like, you know, cough up a position where there's a chance to, you know, have like a real significant position in a leading token of a meta. And so I think that's the first time we've been able to look at this, and, you know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I round trip and this is a really poorly aged clip, but like I do not, it feels more dangerous to sell right now than it would be to hold.
Or you could just be like Joe and intelligently long the rails that everybody has to use to no matter what.
I would say don't overlook the picks and shovel plays. Like Radium from October 2024 to like December 2024 went up like 6-7x, I think, right?
That's
so
like
like
size as well. Like,
yeah, like if you're not confident in your ability to like spot out it, like if you're not deep in the trenches and like confident you can pick out like the next Gas or Ralph or whatever and like be on top of this, like just go long Met, go long Sol, like keep it simple. Like sure, you're not going to hit the 100x, but like it's a lot safer and a lot comfier, and like you have the added benefit. Like I think right now Met is trading like annualized revenues are higher than its market cap, which is just kind of ridiculous. So I think you have a lot less limited downside on like the picks and shovel plays, especially if like you haven't been tuned into this point. So, but yeah, I think like you want to get prepared.
Can you tell us why Met is so undervalued? Like people have been yelling this for months now.
Yeah, even me as well. I've capitulated that position twice. I've sized in and capitulated twice out of boredom.
And I think part of it is like, you know, I want to hear what you say, Joe, but like there's also this you know, they're pretty connected to Jupiter, right? And you've just seen like years of underperformance, the Jupiter token, and it's concerning because it's like we recognize Jupiter, one of the best businesses, like great business, awesome business, great products all the time. They're on the cutting edge, and the token has just always been pain. So like I feel like there's a psychological connection to Met, but like is there something we're missing why the token should be valued in conjunction with the business?
Obviously this is just my own beliefs, but like I think the fundamental issue is that there's just a lack of capital in crypto that like wants to allocate to like fundamental based plays. Like most capital in crypto is here to chase momentum and trade narratives and whatnot. And sure, like yes, meta's cheap on a fundamental basis. There are tons of tokens cheap on a fundamental basis, but the marginal bidder in crypto is just not fundamentally interested in that. They want to go chase something that they think could go 10x, 100x. So like why I think Meteora could be a play here is like now it's actually has the narrative, it has the meta behind it. It's like, oh, we're having AI season again, everyone's going to be launching bags coins and whatnot, volume's going to go up. Like now you might have a convincing case where people are finally like, okay, I can make a convincing case that Met is very undervalued from a fundamental perspective, and now I can make a case that it's also undervalued from like a narrative and trading perspective. I think this is just kind of like points to like kind of the immaturity of the industry, right? Like if you had a business that's growing meaningfully in like a top 3 in its space, it should not be trading at 1x PE ratio. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's trading like a bankrupt business. So maybe like down the line, this fixes itself. But like for now, I think you just need to recognize that the marginal bidder in crypto at the moment, especially for stuff that's not like major caps and the majors, like there's just no capital willing to say, hey, I think this is fundamentally undervalued. I'm willing to hold this position for 3 to 5 years. The truth of the situation is like there's no capital willing to do that, and tokens will just reflect that.
So, and you don't think it's like, do you think there's any connection to like token incentives and like the tokenomic structure or the lack of connection to the business? I know Jupiter, they were in the press recently because like, I think they did somewhere between like $7 to $10 million of token buybacks as the token retraced, probably went down 65% in the time they did those buybacks. So they were trying. Meanwhile, Hype was getting all the credit for doing all their buybacks, and it, because the narrative was there, they were having success, and it just didn't work for Jupe. But like, is that a factor with Meteora too, or you really think it's just like, okay, this is the opportunity for people to recognize the fundamental value, maybe because of the narrative, like attachment?
Yeah, I mean, like their comms have been like there's no equity, right? Like it's just a token. So I'm not sure if that's necessarily a concern specific to Meteor, but like what you're bringing up is definitely like one of the reasons why there's no fundamental bidders in crypto. Like you can actually just trust the word of these teams. Like, hey, we're gonna value the token over equity, and that can flip like that. I think that's kind of the issue with Pump as well, right? Like there's no reason to believe that these buybacks are indefinite and they can be turned off at any point in time. So it's definitely part of the issue, and like I think it's valid. And then like Jupiter, I think you also have to recognize like Jupiter was having massive unlocks, and like the unlock sell pressure was magnitudes more than the token buyback themselves. Like that's part of the issue. And then like you just also have the issue that crypto sucked over this time period. The only person buying Jupe was Jupe themselves, and you still had investors like vesting and selling many times more than what they're buying back.
Is that an issue for Met? Are there unlocks and any of that stuff, or
so Met definitely has it's going to be an issue at one point, but like I don't think it's an issue right now, right? And then because they also unlocked like I think 40% of their supply is unlocked, which for like a new coin is like pretty large. I don't think like it matters in this specific time, maybe down the line, but like even at current values and like what their revs are, I don't think it's that much of a concern at all.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think can change some of those problems you just kind of outlined, and like fix these rails or shovel and type plays? Because I think so many people want to buy these things, and people talk about wanting to get back to that and going back to cash flow generating businesses that are profitable and all that. But then you go and look at the front of the charts, and it's like people don't want that. They say they want it, but they don't. So is there something in your mind that like companies can do to fix this while still launching tokens successfully? Because I've seen a lot of companies that have shied away from tokens lately, and that's not good for the space at all.
Yeah.
What's the solve?
I mean, the frustrating part about this is like we have all the tools to already do this, right? Like this is kind of the promise of crypto and smart contracts. You can run a business completely on chain. You can put your treasury on chain and put some like controls around it. Like there's no reason why Pump Fund couldn't put their treasury on chain and have token holders have some maybe like veto rights over what they're going to do with it. I think like something like the MetaDAO model might go like too far because like, right, like Ranger just raised a bunch of funds, then their tokens underperforming, and now like token buyers are like, oh, we want our money back. So maybe you don't have to go like fully all the way that way, but like I think there's like validity in saying like, hey, we're going to have Pump Fund, all Pump Fund's revenue occurs on chain. We're going to direct that revenue to this treasury address. Everyone can see it. We're going to run our business from this treasury rather than like moving the funds they raise, for example, off chain. No insight whatsoever what's going on for them. And then I think you can think about it like token holders should kind of, rather than be like direct stakeholders, they should kind of be like a board, right? Maybe they don't like tell the team what to do, but like if the team is like, hey, our treasury is $50 million, we're going to take $25 million of that and buy a yacht for ourselves. Then like token holders can get involved and be like, wait a second, no, let's not do that. Versus like kind of like the current MetaDAO model where it's like, you just raise these funds, your token's underperforming, we want our money back. So I think that might go too far, but like I think there is validity in like put your treasury on chain, put your revenues on chain, just be transparent about how you're spending it, and then like give token holders the option to like maybe veto if you think the team sucks. So at the end of the day, I think it's just like the willingness of teams like willing to do this, and I think there's no incentives to really do that as long as tokens trade at like these massive premiums for no fundamental reason. But like that's coming to an end, so maybe we do start moving in this direction, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the incentive problem in crypto has been kind of fucked for a long time and was so clearly taken advantage of by venture capitalists and teams forever. So it's hard pivoting in the other direction, which is leaving people like us who trade on chain in a bad spot where we are stuck chasing paper, chasing Ralph coins and Bags coins.
Yo, don't shit talk my bags, bro. What the?
Oh man. Swizzle, are you in Zek still with your full bag?
Yeah. I mean, so that's the thing is like, I feel like on, here we talk 90% of the time about stuff happening on chain. Like I'm much more like actively managing all my, meme coins and AI speculatory things and everything. But like, I posted a long form article on why I believe in Zek. Like to me, that's Wood always cringes whenever I say this, but it's a long time frame play. Like I believe in privacy as a narrative over the next 2 years. And, I think actually like, I had a bunch of people hitting me with Monero. It basically pulled the Zek playbook from a month or two ago. And it was just like parabolic this past week. A lot of people, obviously money was rotating from Zek to Monero. People were hitting me like, oh, are you nervous? All that. And I was like, to me, actually like mid to long term, that's like confirmation to me that privacy is being confirmed as like a real use case and narrative and something that is going to have mind chain is going to be built on. I think there's room for multiple winners. And to me, I still am super bullish Zek just because of the privacy, the optional privacy option and the fact that you can build infrastructure on top of everything. And if they can actually scale that out, like they are the compliant chain that provides privacy for users, for institutions, whatever, but they are compliant. They can, basically exist in a regulatory environment. So without getting too into the weeds, I'm still very bullish Zek. It's just one of those things like I'm not thinking about it. I know it's been a rough week or 2 weeks for it, but like I don't think about it on a daily basis. I'm just in that, and if we have another significant retrace, I'll probably just keep buying. I'm delusional enough to just keep buying things I believe in until it gets really bad or until I'm proven right. So
I think I'm in that camp as well now. I think I'm just I've come to a bit of a realization that it could end up like a bit of an XPL situation all over again, or I'm just committed to the bag. I'm in the long-term thesis. So I said I wouldn't get involved again, but here I am again. But no, I'm in the same camp with Zek. I think I would be more angry with myself if I let go of the position because I believe in the narrative still and I watched it run. I think that would hurt more than round tripping my whole position. So I think I'm locked in with that now.
Yeah, and Joe, I know you had a long list of coins you're bullish on, and a handful of them were privacy coins, but none of them were Zek. So what about privacy are you bullish on in crypto, and why are you not?
Yeah, so first I'll start. The biggest risk to Zek is not like Monero. It's Bitcoin devs like getting their heads out of their ass, implementing OPCAT, and then like you actually have like a practical Bitcoin privacy solution. I think the odds of that happening on a quick time frame, let's say like a 1 to 2 year time frame, is very low. The odds of that happening on a 5 to 10 year time frame, I think, is very high. So I think that's like ends up being the biggest risk to Zek. So like if you have, let's say, legitimate Bitcoin L2s that are trustless, you can get back to Bitcoin L1 without having to like rely on any centralized parties. And then like one of those L2s has basically a shielded pool for your Bitcoin. I struggle to see like why you would continue using Zek in that case. I think at the current valuations of Zek, like that scenario I'm laying out is very much priced in. So I do think there's like risk reward there. For me, like my worldview is like I'm a Bitcoin maxi. I think everything works out in the end for Bitcoin, so it's very hard for me to like justify putting a large position on ZEC because it's basically like conflicting with my view that like Bitcoin wins. Maybe I should hedge that, but I like to Texas hedge. You go all in on what you believe in. What I'm more bullish on is like practical privacy. I think like privacy is just one of those things that people do care about, but they're not going to go out of their way to seek after. Like you saw this with Zcash, right? Like the Zashi wallet made people care about Zcash. Like, wait a second, like I can access these products in a simple manner. Like, of course I'm going to choose the private option, but like take something like Railgun right now, like Railgun on Ethereum, like you have to go download a completely separate wallet to go use that. Like most people are not going to do that. But if it's as simple as hey, like here's a toggle, like when you send a Venmo, right? You could just make it a private or public and it's just a toggle. Simple as that. Most people are going to pick the private option because they do care about privacy. They're just not going out of their way. So I think like 2025 like proved out that like, hey, people do care about privacy in crypto again. Like it is fundamentally important. And I think in 2026, now you're going to see a rotation of more like practical privacy solutions. So like the one I mentioned, like Railgun on Ethereum, I think is that. I think there's some interesting Solana ones. Like Privacy Cash seems to have the most traction right now. I'm definitely paying attention to Umbra. See how that plays out. Obviously, they're not live yet. But like, I definitely think like people are just gonna want to like take stablecoins, right? Like, if I want to send stablecoins to someone, I don't want to like dox my entire wallet.
Yeah.
And like I think that's just like practical privacy, and like I think across the board, across many ecosystems, there's going to be a large concentrated push to like making the applications people use on an everyday basis private, and some privacy tokens will definitely benefit from that.
I wanted to ask you, because I saw you had listed out Umbra as one of them and Rail as well. Could you give us like I know Umbra's a MetaDAO project, right? Could you give us like the 2-sentence like elevator pitch just so our listeners can like understand what it actually is, specifically because that product's not out? Like what is it in like functionally?
Yeah, so for Railgun or Umbra, which one?
Both, if you don't mind.
Okay, so well, they both operate in a similar way. So basically, it's like the Zcash model where, like, you can have like public balances, and then you can move over to this pool that is now shielded, and within that pool, you can operate privately. So it's the same thing, but now rather than like just ZEC, you can now do this with any token for Railgun on Ethereum. So like you can do ETH, you can do USDC, USDT, you can do wrap Bitcoin. Umbra, I'm assuming is going to work the same way, where it's like Sol and all these other stablecoins. But basically, you can now move these like public-facing tokens into an environment where they can be used privately. That's kind of like the elevator pitch.
Interesting. Yeah, I really like Privacy Cash. I've been using Privacy Cash a lot lately. Basically, every time I move money at all now, the ability to have that has been really game changing. I think on Solana, it's made me feel a lot better about having money on chain and all that, because you know, it is a shitty thing having wallets that are tracked as a trader specifically. I really hate that. But also just like as a practical thing, like I don't want like every time I move money around, I don't want everybody knowing what I'm doing every time I have to send money. So I really hope that takes hold and everyone starts to implement that. Now I know that's why your Orbag got SolSwizzle. You jumped the hype on that.
Yeah, still holding it because I still think there's probably a resurgence in terms of like call it the retail, like store of value, privacy. So I still have hope on it, but I think it definitely took a hit there in the short term. I do think I'm curious Joe's take on this. Like, I don't exactly know how to articulate this, but like, I think you bring up a good point about like practical privacy. I think there's a difference between like what the needs are, the qualification, or like the kind of like in order to pass this smell test in terms of like institutional grade privacy versus retail grade privacy. And like all these on-chain products like Umbra, Privacy Cash, like they should probably be able to do enough to like pass the bar for what the average retail trader probably needs to do. They very likely won't pass the bar for institutional grade privacy if we get to that point. If you have all this money coming on chain through institutions, just because like the infrastructure wise, and like I'm curious, Joe, your take. You mentioned maybe it's a problem down the road with doing it on Bitcoin, but like when the entire network, the framework is designed on the core premise of transparency. Like that's what most of these chains are. They built for transparency and they scaled out. And now we're realizing privacy is important. We're adding these features on, which is great. But your core infrastructure is not based around privacy. It's based around something that actually fundamentally clashes with it. So, I mean, you probably can understand a lot better than we can technically on the Bitcoin level, but like, are you making carving out a difference between like those types of things, institutional versus retail on this stuff?
Yeah, well, I think like you have to recognize like how these models work, and they basically just work around like liquidity and size. Like the more Zcash that is bridged to the privacy pools makes it better, makes it more private. Railgun, Umbra work the same way. The more people use this, the better the privacy set is. So like, sure, initially when starting out, like if for example, like let's say the privacy pool is $50 million, and then I'm going to go to, if I'm an institution, I'm going to deposit $50 million. Like I'm not getting much benefit out of that.
Yeah.
So I think this is something like the way that architecturally how these things work. To start, they're going to be very retail focused, but I think like over time, as the anonymity set grows, as there's more deposits and the privacy set grows larger, then that's where you start to see institutions step in. And I think like it also matters like what the institutions are actually looking for. I think like for trading specifically, like some of these like high frequency trading firms and stuff like that, like they might need architecture that's fully private, and like maybe they need like a private perp desk. So like this is how like TradFi works. Like the majority of volume is routed through like dark pools, and there's like no good on-chain dark pool right now. So that might be like an interesting opportunity for people to build in. Like I know like that's why some people don't like trading on hyperliquid versus sexes. Like they don't want everyone to see their liquidation levels and whatnot. So there could be a real opportunity there, especially on the institutional front. But yeah, I think like for now, like practical privacy is going to work when it's like geared towards retail, geared towards consumer, rather than towards institutions.
Isn't that what Aster tried to do with the dark pools? And it's sort of just like the platform just fell through, like fell out his ass anyway.
I don't want to talk too much about Aster, but yeah, like I think Aster has other issues.
Yeah.
Like, are they still even on chain yet, or is it still like just all wishy-washy? Like, trust us, we're actually executing.
I think it's all trust us.
It's a little it's a
I
nice
had that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I wouldn't over index too much on the implications of that. But yeah, like there is a reason why Aster said we're offering dark pools. It's because this is how institutions are used to trading.
Mm-hmm.
So like I do think down the line someone will crack this and figure it out. But yeah, I think that's just something that will come with time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I know you're into, Joe, Creator Coins, Zora, the Nick Shirley thing. I did want to get your take on Kato and that token just free falling yesterday. And if you were ever bullish on Kato.
I was never bullish on Kato. I think like the idea, like the sky in the high idea, like, hey, anyone can become a KOL and get paid for it, kind of made sense. But like to do that right, you need to find a way to like filter out all the bots and low quality accounts, and like they just never offered a compelling answer to that. So that's why it was tough to get bullish on it.
Yeah. And then
once
Zora, sorry.
No, you go.
No, I was gonna pivot over to Zora and Nick Shirley and see why you're bullish there.
I wouldn't say I'm bullish. I wouldn't say I'm bullish anymore. So I want to start like Zora did get some things right. Like I think their quote pairing model is fundamentally better than like every other Launchpad's model for the moment. Like I don't think it makes sense that, for example, like how every Solana Launchpad, like all the monetary premium effects of like, hey, people are buying our meme coins, we're gonna basically give that to Sol rather than ourselves. And like at the end of the day, I think that's like the number one way these Launchpads actually monetize is not like through transactional based revenue, but just like by people buying these memes and like depositing some monetary asset to acquire those memes. So I think Zora did take a step in the right direction, saying, hey, why are we giving the majority of the benefit to a token that's not ours? Let's keep that in-house. Then let's have the creators have their own creator coin, and then all their content is paired with that. So like I think that model made sense. But I think where Zora went wrong is like for this to fully work, you need to build like a new social network around this and have these baked in network effects. And I think everything that went down with Nick Shirley just showed that like they don't have the chops to to like seize the moment. Like they were handed this perfect opportunity where this guy was completely mainstream, and not just in crypto, like across the globe for the most part. Like everyone was talking about this person, and he was engaging with crypto and actually like enjoyed the experience, was making more money on Zora than he was through Twitter and YouTube. Like he enjoyed it. And there was just like no broader effort by like the Zora or base teams to like amplify this message and like get everyone to like understand what Zora is. So for me, like that's just like, for example, I tweeted more about this whole thing than I think anyone on their teams did. And it's just like when you're handed opportunities like that and you don't recognize that and go all in on trying to make it work, it's hard to remain bullish. Now I think if they went all in on it and tried to make it work and it didn't work, like I would still be bullish. Maybe this wasn't just the opportunity, but like you only get these opportunities handed to you if you're lucky, once a year. And this was clearly one of them, and they just didn't think so. So it's hard for me to remain bullish in that sense. Obviously, I still have
from your perspective, like what's the explanation for, because literally everyone was saying this. We know that, Jesse and these guys, like they're on crypto Twitter, so they see, like there must have been like they felt like they couldn't, there was like legal reasons or what, like it just seems so tone deaf that they just didn't do anything.
Yeah, they felt like a lot of hesitation. Like
what
I think part of it was also like the team was on holidays, and I don't think that's a good enough excuse. Like
just thinking of that, man.
Being on a fucking holiday.
Yeah, like I think to build a social network, like you saw Elon tweet like 100 times about this, and like he's obviously he's the richest man in the world. He doesn't need to be doing this. Like he wants to make X a better experience. So like if you're not willing to get down in the trenches when you're on holiday to like seize the opportunity for your social network, that's going to be very tough to build out in the first place. I don't see how it's going to work.
Yeah, this is their fucking business, and they're not willing to go all in on the greatest opportunity that they've ever had since they built this.
Yes,
the greatest opportunity they've been getting. They were handed it on a silver platter, and they said, "You know what? I'm going to mail it in. I'm not going to seize the moment here. I'm going to enjoy my holiday. You guys, maybe it'll work out when I get back." It's horrible.
By the way, it wouldn't have taken that much, right? Like we saw what happened last night. Like gas token was kind of around the Nick Shirley levels, and then you had the guy embrace it, and then Ansem, who's just he's a main character in our little echo chamber, our bubble, but like he posts about it, and all of a sudden it goes to 30 million overnight. Like what happens if Brian Armstrong goes out and says, "Hey, like we're behind this. We're gonna keep like helping Jesse build this, etc." Like it really wouldn't have taken a ton, I don't think.
Yeah, like Nick Shirley was even saying like he had this second episode coming out, or like Zora should like try to figure out a way, like let's make that exclusive on Zora. Like we'll pay you $100K. They gave $25 million to Kobe for a podcast. I think they could lay out a couple $100,000 to like it's on an exclusive on that. But like they could have did so many things and they just didn't do anything.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's super disappointing. But I think it kind of goes back to this idea that creators that are not crypto native aren't meant to be successful in crypto, and that the true creator coins or creator meta is going to come from within crypto. I think it hasn't happened yet, but I think like for the meta to succeed, you need to be crypto native, and it needs to appear, whether that's like through, we saw this Remus guy become a massive main character with his PnL card all over the place from FOMO. That was literally everywhere on crypto. How can he leverage that and become a creator in the space, or create a token and monetize that to some degree, versus us begging these AI devs to endorse a token and become a creator here? Like that's the alternative. We're just begging B, C, D, F list creators to come into our space, stop and endorse it. And I think that's the wrong way. And I'm trying to figure out how, like, what that looks like. I don't know, but do you have any thoughts on that, Joe?
Well, the one thing I think you're right in the current environment, but like I would caution against like extrapolating this further out. Like I think Base is now already pivoting away from this idea of social first to another trading app, which look, if they're not willing to put the resources and effort behind like trying to actually build out a new social network, yes, that is the correct move, but it's a disappointing move in my opinion. Like Coinbase is probably one of the few teams in this space that actually has like both the technical talent and like the monetary resources to try and actually go out and build a new alternative social network. That's not to say it's not like a massive risk, right? But you have to do more than $2 million in onboarding incentives over a 1 week period, and then like not constantly hammering home the point every opportunity you get. So yeah, I think like if no team is willing to like take that risk, I think yeah, like crypto native people are the creators. Like if you are successful in building out a new social network, I do think like then you have an environment where like non-crypto native creators can succeed. Like imagine if like Twitter tomorrow launched creator coins for all profiles, right? Like would you expect the crypto native X accounts to have the highest market cap of them? I don't think you would. I think you would still expect it to be traditional creators because they have some like they have better ad revenues through X and like stuff like that. So for it to fully work, you need to like build this alternative social network, which is a massive endeavor and might not even work. But unless you're willing to at least attempt that, then yeah, I think your assumptions are correct. Like the current model is never going to work.
You know what's crazy? Like I was just messaging these guys. Like
Yeah.
it's a long way to go. I know it's early innings, but FOMO is beating Coinbase at doing exactly this with a fraction of the capital, a fraction of the cost. They're a Series A, or seed startup. And, you know, I'm not saying they've accomplished it, but like they are building that social layer in ways that, you know, Coinbase has all of the resources in the world. And it's just like this little startup is doing it better than them right now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say that. I was hoping you were going to say that point after I saw it. I was like, yeah, and it's very true. And they've sort of won the game of what they were trying to accomplish. Yeah, at literally a fraction of the cost, like you said. It is actually insane. Right.
Yeah, now like everyone, this is also a deeper problem with crypto. Is like everyone's just an imitator. They see someone take an idea and make it work, and now everyone pivots to that. Like this is now seemingly what Base is doing. Like they just announced PnL cards. Like Farcast already did this, and it's just like it's the easy route, but like it's not the route where like you win and go on to world domination. Like you have to.
Well,
this is why FOMO worked. Like FOMO.
Humble are also going to do it now as
Yeah.
well. They're doing that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what
saw
they're doing.
that 2 days ago. Elon
Yeah.
basically just came out with a feature that's already existed. And, you know, 2 years ago, it was everyone trying to copy Pump's product. And now they're kind of going full circle and they're just coming out with features that already exist elsewhere.
Yeah,
So
it's just I think like if you want to, unless you're first to market with an idea like FOMO was, like don't even bother being an imitator. Like go out, take the risk, and build something new and exciting that doesn't exist. And to me, that was the direction with the Base app and like the social first. Like sure, maybe it didn't work. Like obviously, crypto native people didn't like it, but I don't think it went mainstream enough to know like how non-crypto native people liked it. It's very possible people outside of crypto enjoy a product like that. We don't know. When they had a chance to onboard people, they didn't seize it. So who knows?
Yeah.
But like, I think it's just disappointing that they're giving up on this idea after not really like putting their full weight of resources and effort behind it.
Yeah, I feel like things when you're half in, half out never really work.
And that's what it was. That's what it was. They're half in, half out.
And that's never how you make something work. One last thing before you go that I want to talk to you about, because I fucking love them too, are Bitcoin puppets. You still have the puppet PFP. Were you a big puppet guy back in the day?
I loved Ordinal season, man.
I think we all did, man. I think we all did, man.
You were one of my first follows when it came to Ordinals and runes and all that.
Really?
I mean, you were really early to it, and you were, I don't know, it felt like it had a lot of momentum. Like it was really exciting. People wanted stuff on the Bitcoin network. They wanted that, you know.
Bro, I held 12 pups at one point because I thought they were going to be the next punks.
I'll give you my my super secret like Ordinal thesis, at least for puppets. I think like at least puppets are kind of like where Miladies were at like early 23, where like they established they had some cultural value, but like if you recall 2024, Miladies got a shit ton of airdrops just from like random projects. They're like, we're building in the Ethereum ecosystem, we want to attract Ethereum users, let's go give money to Miladies. Like I think if you bought a Milady in 2023, you probably got like 5 to 10x your value back in airdrops alone. I wouldn't be shocked if that same thesis plays out with puppets again. You're going to have a bunch of Bitcoin L2s coming to market this year. I think the first one's Citria in Q1, Alpin's another one. And then if you do get OP Cat, and I think again, pure speculation. I have no idea if any of this is correct. This is my own intuition. I think like puppets right now, they're being priced purely on their cultural value, when I think there might be like a hidden airdrop value as well. I could see like some of these Bitcoin L2s that like want to attract the users that were engaging with some of the experimental Bitcoin stuff back in 24, right? Like those were puppets. Everyone that has a puppet is willing to engage with this shit. They might go out and airdrop some portion of their supply to puppets to try to get them onto their networks. So that's my super secret puppet thesis. I don't really show it publicly, but I could definitely see a scenario play out. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, where we have a bunch of Bitcoin L2s go to market, drop their tokens, and they airdrop some to puppet holders.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked at the price of puppets because I still own 8 of them.
Do you held onto them?
Well, so
Wow,
when
man.
I bought my Boogle, I started selling because I owned like 15 puppets at the time, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to fund this very expensive other NFT with my existing expensive NFTs or ordinals. And so I sold like 5 or I think I sold like 7. I sold 7 or 8 of them, and I actually just went to go log into my wallet, and it was removed from my browser, and it says I need my private key to restore it, and I don't know where that is. So
Devastating. God,
that's good.
lock supply.
It might be gone. So
Yeah.
there might be a bunch of my puppets that are gone. But I was a huge puppet guy. I bought
You got the rare one, no?
yeah. I have a very rare puppet, and I have an opium, the 1 of 100 collection from I forget his name. I have one of those, and they went up tremendously, and I was like, they're going to 1 BTC. I was one of the in the deletion. I think I paid like spot 6, spot 7 BTC for a very rare one at one point, which I still have, and is now worthless. It went to 0. So I don't know if
Chasing many NFTs.
Yeah.
I for whatever reason thought that this time was different, but I got really into ordinals and into runes too. Actually, I bought the top of those too. So were you in early on those, Joe, or were you a top buyer like me?
Honestly, man, I never cared for runes. I thought like ordinals are interesting because like you don't really care too much about the trading experience of NFTs because it's a lot more about like the emotional and cultural value of the asset, where like runes to me was never going to work as like as a token. You're just completely stripping away that aspect for the most part and like prioritizing stuff like speed and execution, and runes were just never going to be able to provide an environment for that. So yeah, I was purely ordinals. I definitely like round tripped a ton as well. The other stuff like I was really interested with stuff like rare sats, which is like you can own like fragments of Bitcoin mined by like Satoshi and Hal Finney. Like that stuff to me is cool. I still hold a shit ton of those. That's like something I just buried on my ledger. We're gonna find out in like 10-20 years if it was a smart move swapping like 1 Bitcoin for like 0.75 Bitcoin, but that Bitcoin was mined by Satoshi. So we'll see how that plays out.
I remember when that happened. That was like a crazy event. That like 48 hours when it all happened, and knowing that was really fun.
So we'll see. I don't expect that anytime soon to make a comeback, but hey, maybe like 10 years from now, I'll pull up my buried ledger and people are paying 10 BTC for 1 Satoshi BTC, and I'll make a killing.
That is the dream, man. That is the dream. I actually hope that pays off. That's a cool way to make money. That's a really cool way to make money.
I actually think that's smart. I mean,
yeah, I think
the way that some Bitcoin whale isn't going to be like, hey, I want this.
Yeah.
Or whatever, as like a memento or whatever. I mean, there's so many people that have made so much goddamn money off this. Like, it's
yeah, and at the end of the day, like if it doesn't work out, you still have your Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
you can just sell it. You can send it to Coinbase, and you can give it to them for free.
Exactly.
Your rare sats for free. Brian, man, Brian.
Brian just keeps on winning. Brian must have so many rare sats.
Yeah, holy shit, man. He's the fucking ultimate collector.
Actually, I don't think they do. I think Brian has a ton though. Yeah.
Oh, of course they do.
Because when rare sats like first became a thing, like people were just like sending Bitcoin to Coinbase, withdrawing back and forth, and like sniped a bunch of them out. But like how Binance was set up, they had like their BTC like remained in like cold wallets. So I think Binance has like the most rare sats, and like you can't touch them. So
yeah,
that makes sense. CZ seems like he would appreciate something like that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Swizzle had to hop off. He had to run, so we'll wrap this up. Joe, it was awesome chatting, man.
Likewise, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, anytime. We'll have to have you back on. This was awesome. Hopefully, we see our tokens keep running, Sats.
Indeed. Hopefully so.
Hopefully, Met decides to run for the first time ever as well. Run
Yeah,
two.
no, after this pod, I'm gonna go look into acquiring maybe another position in Met because I've flip flopped it. It's a bit like how you used to hold Galaxy would. That's my.
Oh God damn it, dude! It's ripping right now. Have you seen the price of Galaxy?
I haven't. Is it going up?
Yeah, dude, it's $35. I bought them, sold it. I would be up so much money right now. My entry was like 27. I think I sold it like 25 or something. Because I was like, fuck this. And I went to 22 and I was validated, and now it's at 34, 33.
Yeah, we had Duncan on as well, giving you the Galaxy Thesis.
I bought it on stream with Duncan.
Oh man, Jesus. It doesn't get worse than that. There you go.
I have the attention span of a 3-year-old. So.
But yeah, I think after this stream, I'm going to go look into Meteora, maybe pick up another position. I'm inspired.
All right, let's do it.
If it goes down, Joe, I'll be in the DMs complaining. Good luck out there.
Let's do it. Gas is up. The tomato is ripping.
Mm-hmm. I'm sideline tomato.
You're an idiot. All right. Chat soon, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers, guys. In a bit.
Bye.